When Bad Bunny walked out onto the Saturday Night Live stage for the season 51 premiere, the crowd erupted before he even said a word. The energy was electric, not just because fans were thrilled to see him again, but because this was more than just another celebrity hosting gig. This was his moment to speak directly to the noise, the criticism, and the controversy that's been swirling ever since it was announced that he would headline the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show. And Bad Bunny did what he does best. He turned the tension into entertainment. Standing center stage, calm but confident, he began with a grin. You might not know this, but I'm doing the Super Bowl halftime show, and I'm very happy, and I think everybody's happy about it. The audience roared. And without missing a beat, he added, even Fox News. It was classic Bad Bunny, cheeky, unbothered, and completely in control of his own narrative. SNL then rolled a hilarious mock montage of Fox News anchors gushing about him, saying things like Bad Bunny is my favorite musician and he should be the next president. It was satire, yes, but it also made a point. The criticism from the conservative side only fuels his cultural dominance. Behind the jokes, though, there was a deeper message. Bad Bunny didn't shy away from the backlash. He addressed it head-on, not with anger, but with pride. I'm really excited to be doing the Super Bowl, he said, switching effortlessly into Spanish. I know that people all around the world who love my music are also happy, especially all of the Latinos and Latinas in the world here in the United States, who have worked to open doors. It's more than a win for myself, it's a win for all of us. Our footprints and our contribution in this country. No one will ever be able to take that away or erase it. The audience fell silent for a moment, soaking it in, before exploding in applause. Then, with a smirk, he added, and if you didn't understand what I just said, you have for months to learn. That was Bad Bunny in a nutshell, confident, unapologetic, and proudly bilingual, representing an entire generation of Latinos who have been told they don't belong, only to prove that they do. Earlier in the monologue, he shared a lighter moment with John Hamm, whom he jokingly referred to as Wanyamon. A clip of Hamm dancing to Bad Bunny's music played on the screen, and the cameras cut to Hamm himself sitting in the audience, smiling. It was pure SNL fun, self-aware, playful, and a perfect balance to the heavier cultural moments that came later in the show. But this episode of Saturday Night Live wasn't just about Bad Bunny. It marked the start of a brand new era for the legendary show. Season 51 opened with a completely fresh lineup, following one of the biggest cast shakeups in years. 5 cast members had left over the summer: Ego Newell-Dean, Heidi Gardner, Devin Walker, Michael Longfellow, and Emil Joachim, while several new faces joined the roster, including Tommy Brennan, Jeremy Culhane, Cam Patterson, and Veronika Slowakowska. Even the beloved Please Don't Destroy sketches, which had become fan favorites, were officially scrapped. Ben Marshall transitioned to being a featured player, John Higgins exited the show, and Martin Hurley stayed on as a writer. It was a changing of the guard, a risky creative reset that SNL hasn't seen in decades. The cold open was a reminder that no matter who's in the cast, SNL will always take aim at politics. Colin Jost stepped out as U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, declaring that under President Donald Trump, the military would now follow the same rules as a frat party: no fat chicks. And if you're a fat dude, god damn it, you better be funny as hell. Then came the familiar voice of James Austin Johnson's Trump, returning to the stage in full form. I'm just here keeping my eye on SNL, making sure they don't say anything to mean about me, he said, with that signature hand motion and exaggerated confidence. SNL 51 off to a rough start, he teased. 17 new cast members, and they got the update guide doing the cold open. Look at Colin, poor Colin. We knew they wouldn't let him do the whole open by himself. Even Trump's parody couldn't resist referencing the headlines. Johnson's Trump threw in a jab about the Riyadh Comedy Festival, joking that he was surprised Colin's here. I thought he'd be with his friends at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Then, in a tongue-in-cheek nod to the temporary suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live, he mentioned his attack dog Brendan Carr, played by Mikey Day, portraying the FCC chair. It was the kind of political comedy that reminded viewers why SNL still matters. A perfect blend of satire, chaos, and reality all colliding in real time. But the real real-world controversy wasn't left on the SNL stage. After the Super Bowl announcement, former Trump advisor Corey Lewandowski publicly claimed that ICE would be in attendance at next year's Super Bowl, hinting at heightened immigration enforcement. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem echoed that statement, promising that ICE agents would be all over the event. It was a not-so-subtle dog whistle aimed at immigrants and Latino performers, and it only made Bad Bunny's inclusion more symbolic. For him, this wasn't just a concert, it was a cultural statement. When he told ID Magazine earlier this year that he'd avoided adding U.S. tour dates out of fear that F*** could be outside his concert, it wasn't an exaggeration. It was a reflection of a real tension that exists for artists like him, beloved worldwide, but still treated like outsiders in the very country where their music dominates the charts. There were many reasons why I didn't show up in the US, he said, and none of them were out of hate. I performed there many times. All of them have been successful, but there was the issue of ICE, and it's something that we were very concerned about. That's what made his SNL monologue feel bigger than just comedy. It was a declaration. He stood on that stage in front of millions of viewers, representing not just himself, but every Latino who has been made to feel small, unwelcome, or invisible. His words were both defiant and hopeful. This isn't just about a halftime show. It's about being seen. The night also featured a fiery performance from Doja Cat, the musical guest for the evening. Marking her first ever appearance on SNL, she delivered her set with the same chaotic confidence she's known for: playful, unpredictable, and visually stunning. Together, Bad Bunny and Doja Cat kicked off the season with a kind of cultural heat that SNL hasn't felt in years. Looking ahead, the lineup promises more big names. Amy Poehler will host on October 11th with Role Model as musical guest, and Sabrina Carpenter is set to pull double duty on October 18th, performing and hosting in what's already shaping up to be one of the season's most anticipated episodes. But for now, this episode will be remembered for one thing: Bad Bunny reclaiming the narrative. Amid the noise, the backlash, and the politics, he stood there smiling. A Puerto Rican superstar in full command of the moment. What could have been a defensive response turned into a celebration. He laughed at the critics, honored his roots, and made the audience fall in love with him all over again. And as the show closed, it was clear that no matter who threatens, mocks, or doubts him, Bad Bunny isn't going anywhere. He's not just performing at the Super Bowl, he's redefining what it means to be an American icon.